Welcome back to another Action After, my friend. This week we're talking about McCall Jones' Action After item, which was to think with your feet. All right, sometimes in life, honestly, we have to stop thinking with our head. We need to start thinking with our feet, right? Sometimes we can sit there. There's something called analysis paralysis, where we go, well, this could happen, and that could happen, and this could, and that, and then all of a sudden, 20 years of our life go by. Probably not 20, maybe 5, maybe 2, maybe 1, maybe even 6 months. But you get what I'm saying. Part of our life goes by, and we go, man, I've been thinking about this thing for so long, and I've never actually done anything about it. And maybe you're listening to this right now, and maybe you're realizing that there's something you've been thinking about doing. And you've been thinking with your head, you've been analyzing, you've been getting into some analysis paralysis. And maybe if you really look at your life, maybe it's been a week since you said you were going to do this thing. Maybe it's been a month. Maybe even for some of you, if you're listening to this, maybe you've been thinking about this thing for a year and maybe even more than years. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to stop thinking with our head. We're going to start thinking with our feet. All right. And I'm going to walk you through this week's Action After with 3 specific ways that you can start thinking with your feet. All right. So the first Action After item that we're going to look at as we start to think with our feet and not with our head is very simply, I want you to ask yourself, what is one thing that you've recently been wanting to do? Right? What's one thing that you've recently been thinking about doing? Now, for some of you, this may be something that's a side hustle. For some of you, it may be something that's entrepreneurship. For some of you, maybe a thought that you've been having is you're not currently happy doing what you're doing, and you've always had this thought of this other thing that you maybe wanted to try. Or it could be something entirely different than anything that I just said, right? But I want you to ask yourself, what's something in your heart that if you're honest with yourself, you've maybe been thinking about doing for a couple days, maybe even just a couple hours, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, maybe even a couple years. And that's going to be step 1. All right. Simply ask yourself, what's one thing that I've been thinking about doing in my life that I haven't quite done yet? And I've maybe got caught up in a little bit of the analysis paralysis. All right. Now, the second Action After that we're going to step into is I then want you to hit publish. And when I say hit publish, for some of you, that may be something like maybe you've been thinking about starting a podcast and you've been analyzing it, you've been wondering about it. When I say hit publish, this is very clear in this sense. That means publish an episode. It does not need to be perfect. It does not need to be the most incredible thing in the world. But the key is as you hit publish, you're going to learn and you're going to progress over time. Right? As a simple example, if you listen to the first podcast I ever did, and even if you heard the story of the first podcast I ever did, it was very scrappy. You know, I had 2 microphones. They weren't even the right microphones, but I found someone that was willing to be on the podcast, and I said, hey, can I interview? And I showed up with these, little mics, lapel mics you put on your shirt, and it ended up being, a great episode. And the audio, though, was interesting and the interview was interesting, but I'm glad I did the first one. I'm glad I hit publish because now it's fast forward to we're over 200 episodes, right? So the key is hit publish. Again, a podcast, that makes sense. Maybe you want to do an entrepreneurial thing, a side hustle, hit publish, like go do the thing. For some of you, maybe what hitting publish means is maybe it's that you've realized that you want to try a different form of exercise. For you, hitting publish would just mean trying that new type of exercise. Maybe you're like, I've been thinking about doing this thing called yoga, and you've never really done it. For you, hitting publish may be going and signing up for a yoga class. Go do it, right? So that's going to be the second part. And as we hit publish, what I want you to get is sometimes we go through life and we go, well, you know what? I'm going to wait for the sign. And when the sign comes and everything aligns perfectly and everything's exactly the way it's supposed to be, that's going to be my sign to hit publish. And what I want to share with you right now is that if you've been waiting for a sign in your life to hit publish in your life, this is your sign. I'm going to say that again. If you have been waiting for your sign to hit publish, listening to my voice right now is your sign to hit publish. All right, to take that step, to think with your feet, to do it, to take the action, because as soon as you take the action, action breeds clarity. Action creates growth. Action moves the needle forward in your life. All right, so this is your sign. Go hit publish. Now, the third thing I want to share with you in the action after, and this isn't as much of an action, this is more of a changing your way of thinking. And it's to simply, for the third action after, to stop fighting with perfection. Stop fighting with perfection. Sometimes we go throughout our life and we go, everything has to be perfect. I have to look the right way. I have to think the right way. I have to say the right thing. I have to, everything's got to be perfect before I actually do anything. And I want you to understand that perfection is an impossible game to win. That if you are always setting a standard of perfectionism, you're never going to reach that, because you can always do more, be more, and give more. That's the way we were created as human beings, is to have endless, limitless potential. Right? The key is that when you get to your deathbed one day going, man, I got as much out of this thing called life that I could, but still understanding that it wasn't perfectionism, right? That it was a process to get you better every single day. All right. So the third part is truly, and I hope you hear this from my heart to yours, you have to stop playing the game of perfectionism. Don't play that game. It's a dangerous game, because perfectionism is an impossible feat, right? The key is when you stop fighting perfectionism, the new game you should get into is asking yourself one simple question. And the question is, did I give it my best effort? And if you gave it your best effort in this thing that you're going to hit publish, give yourself a pat on the back. Be proud of yourself. Congratulate yourself, because the way we work as humans, again, is we build on success. We build on positivity. If we're hard on ourselves and we go, man, that sucked, it was stupid, it wasn't good, we're not going to be able to carry success into the next day. But if we publish it and we go, you know what? Maybe it was a little messy. Maybe there was a bunch of hiccups that went through that whole process. But you know what? I freaking hit publish in my life. And I'm giving myself a pat on the back from that. I'm giving myself a hoorah. You freaking did it. You hit publish, because my friends, the honest truth is that 99% of people in their life never hit publish. So stop fighting the game of perfectionism. Hit publish in your life on whatever this thing is that you know you're supposed to hit publish. And remember to celebrate, to recognize, and to give yourself a pat on the back for taking this incredible step into your future. Because as you hit publish, you let action grow you. You let action give you clarity. You are going to get so much clearer on the direction that you want to go with your life. All right. So that is going to be the action after. Again, start thinking with your feet. All right. Number one, what's the thing that you've been thinking about doing? Number two, hit publish. This is your sign. One more time, in case you said, well, maybe that last sign wasn't my sign. Here it is again. This is your sign to go hit publish. If you've been waiting for the sign, this is the sign. And then the third part is stop fighting perfectionism. Stop fighting with perfectionism. Stop playing the game of perfectionism and start playing the game of asking yourself, did I give it my best effort? All right, that is it for this week, my friends. Have a beautiful, phenomenal, unfreaking believable rest of your week. And remember, you're a beautiful soul, and let's go crush it and build a life that lights up your soul every single day, my friends. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.